15 May 2021, and I'm joined by Senator Khaliphani Phugeni. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. How are you? And good evening, good morning, good afternoon to the listeners wherever they may be in the world.
Fantastic.
On that note, I just need to, I'm sure you're going to like this. I just need to recognize and commend this platform for the beautiful work that it's doing. After our interview last Saturday, I received over 60 inboxes from all the political parties in the country. Very excited. Some of them forgiving me. I don't know what exactly they were forgiving me for, but they were forgiving me. Others went as far as, you remember the blind lady we raising money for her school fees?
Yes.
So we got money towards that. I was also lucky. I was also given $100 US dollars to do with whatever I would like to. So thank you so much.
That's amazing. Right. We seem to be having a poor network today, so we want to talk very, very quickly.
All right.
There was a court ruling today. Yes. The High Court sat through the night and delivered a court judgment which nullified the extension of Chief Justice Malaba's tenure as the Chief Justice of Zimbabwe because he has reached the age of 70. Can you give us more details about that?
Yeah. No, with your indulgence, I would like us to come back tomorrow if your surgeon allows it. So I can be very detailed. Today, yes, we've got to be short and all those things. But I would like to, first of all, commend those judges which sat on this matter. It took a lot of courage. And the mere fact that they stood up for the rule of law and the Constitution of Zimbabwe. I'm telling you, ruling against the government of the day is not very easy. I am saddened, though, as you know, that I had argued that you can't be losing top justices simply because they've reached 70. What was not correct was how they went about it. They should have gone about this as stipulated in the Constitution and should have removed the president from annually renewing people's rights to carry on practicing as top judges. What they should have simply done is, you turning 70, we're taking it out, we're going to 75, every judge, right? And it would have been easy for some reason if they were incapacitated. I'm sure there is a process that removes a judge even if they are 65 and they're incapacitated, or they are 50 and they're incapacitated. But once you include the president there, then you are blurring the lines of separation of powers and independence of judges, and also a lot of other things. You are putting politics into where it doesn't belong. So those judges must be commended, and we must really follow their careers from now to the end, because I am sure that retribution is coming. Why do I say so? You just have to read the letter by the minister. I'm going to send you the letter if you haven't seen it. No, look, if it was wrong for Advocate Nelson Chamisa and his group to react in the manner they did in that Concord election challenge, and even in the Supreme Court judgment of MTC versus Mashaviri, no, it should be then extremely wrong for the minister, considering that he is a minister of justice, and we expect him not to be writing such letters, because these type of letters, they communicate one thing, that the Second Republic is a facade, that there is nothing called the Second Republic, it's just a pretense, or he does not belong in the Second Republic.
Okay, so are you saying the judiciary in Zimbabwe is independent? Why is it that when a negative ruling to the government happens, everyone celebrates, but when the same happens against the opposition. Everyone complains.
No, I don't fall under that category, because you will remember that I am one of those people who have always commended our judiciary. Are you still here, Kambaku?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm just hiding behind my hair.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So I'm not one of those. I think if you follow even our past interviews, I've always spoken well of our judiciary, because I've taken time to read their judgments, not only political judgments. You know, I mean, they're one of the best judges you can get this side of eternity. So I am not one of those. But maybe the reason why people celebrate is because, remember, they are the arbiters of our last dispute. Or rather, let me say, they are the last arbiters of our disputes. So, and you know that government wields a lot of power and a lot of influence. So it takes courage, as I've already said, that they need to be commended for sticking with the courage of their conviction that this is wrong, and standing up for the constitution of the country and saying, no, you haven't done this correct. I'm made aware that we didn't get everything that we had prayed for. And when I'm saying we, I'm identifying myself with the young lawyers of Zimbabwe who took this matter there, and a certain gentleman, I don't know if it's a gentleman or lady, but there's a certain individual who also took this matter to court. And those people also need to be commended, because again, it's not easy in a country like Zimbabwe to take on the government head on and prevail in the manner they have done and still be able to proceed with your career. You just have to look at the what do they call it? Is it the young doctors or whatever, or junior doctors of Zimbabwe? You know what happened. They were all fired, they lost their jobs, and it really became a big mess up. And most of them really struggled to maintain their families and their parents and all those things. So even these young lawyers, they really need to be checked their progress, that when retribution comes, we're able to stand up for them and say, no, not in our name. The Second Republic is different, because the Second Republic says the voice of the people is the voice of God. We must hold them to that word. We must hold them to that word. The voice of the people is the voice of God. So the letter that comes from the minister, it does not reflect that publicly stated objective.
Okay, so let me give an update on what has happened. The court has ruled that the Chief Justice cannot continue beyond 70 years. So tonight at 12 p.m. or 12, that is his last day in office. And then the Vice Chief Justice, I think that's here, the Elizabeth Gwaunza, she's going to be the new acting Chief Justice. And this ruling was given in this court where there's, I think this is Justice Chiweshe, George Chiweshe. Now, what happens next? Are you aware of what happens, this process that takes place after this?
No, I'm not. Like I'm saying, I was busy with other things. I've just had about the last 20 minutes trying to gather information. It has come through now, my phone. That's why I was requesting for tomorrow, so I can have enough time to go through this thing. But I think you know that my biggest issue was the role of the executive in the appointment of judges, and also the extension of their service thereof. I don't think the court struck that down. And for me, that still remains a major problem. The other issue may be, I don't think it went before the courts, and it must go before the courts in my view. I just hope that the young lawyers and other people will also take this thing. The gender issue, I still feel strongly, Kambakwe, that there the Constitution was violated, because the Constitution is aiming for a 50% gender parity. What are we given? We're given a 22% for 20 years. That falls far, far short. And what do we have? We have women here trying to gaslight us and tell us that they voted for women. But basically what they've done is they've voted for themselves, because if they voted for women, they'll say, you know what, seeing that was 22% for 20 years, we have served our time, let's then for yield back so that others can take over. They're not going to do that. Even in 2023, you see the very same people wanting to go back. So which means they were voting for themselves. So I wish someone can really take that matter to court and say, no, in this case, the constitution is not being followed because the constitution says we're aiming for a 50-50 gender parity. And right now we've got 22% and we're given this 22% for 20 years. That's not it. We're not going to get there anytime soon. We're all going to die before we reach 50%.
Okay. I think our network today is not very, very good. I think we need to arrange to get Senator Phugeni a net one line. I'm sure you are using your Econet line today.
Let me not comment because it borders on economic opportunities, and I don't want to find myself in trouble with Safe Drive Masiwa.
Okay, all right. So I would like to end with this comment on Fadzai Mahere and Tendai Biti. The two, they are very vocal when they lose in court. What do you say about these two? You say they are not one of these two. When these guys lose in court, Mahere and Biti, they have been very vocal and they've said a lot of things against the judges, calling them captured. Is the court captured in Zimbabwe?
Well, it's difficult to comment about Mahere. You know, she's a national treasure, so I dare not go there. But look, I think Honorable Biti is known for his passion and sometimes saying things without thinking them through. You can't be a senior lawyer as he is, taking people's money every day, representing them in courts which are captured, without saying something about yourself. I don't know if you're following this.
Yeah, I'm following this.
How do you take people's money? Yes, how do you take people's money and go to courts, which courts you have basically no respect for? You basically think nothing is happening there. These people are captured. Decisions are predetermined. I think it's reckless. I don't think he even believes that. I think he is just using the courts for political mileage, and he will be better advised not to do so. Because it's a big deal about if we encourage our people to lose faith in the court system. I don't want to lie to you. There are a lot of people who depend upon this court system. And I say so having been before a court system. You really need to have faith in that system. If you don't have faith in that system, trust me, there's just going to be chaos and mayhem. That is why I'm also speaking against the minister. This letter needs to be withdrawn because you can't have a government that intimidates judges in the manner this letter does. I don't know what was the intent of it, but I can tell you that surely the outcome, never mind the intent, this is intimidating judges. They cannot do their work without fear or favor. Every time anyone now has a case before them that involves the executive and the Minister of Justice is involved, they will think twice having read this type of a letter coming from him.
Yeah, I would want to focus on the spokesperson of the MDC Alliance, Mahere. She said, wow, here. I would want her to say more than wow, because she has openly undermined the courts in Zimbabwe, especially the High Court in Zimbabwe, when it was ruling against them when they didn't have enough documentation in all the court cases with MDCT. They've also gone on to say a lot about the wins of Senator Douglas Ngonzora in the courts, and also of Dr. Kupe. I would have wanted you to say more about that. Also,
yeah, look, like I told you, I think when it comes to Advocate Mahere, everyone acknowledged, they took judicial notice of what was happening there. She was thrown into the deep end. She was trying to do a job to the best of her ability. Unfortunately, she didn't have the facts on her side. Neither did she have the historical background of the MDCT. I think you know that her father was the Secretary for Education for a long time under Mugabe regime, and I'm safe to conclude that she was part of ZANU-PF. So I understood what was happening there. She was thrown into the deep end. She was given the job without the necessary support and knowledge, and it was always going to be difficult for her. So that's how I understood. This is not gospel. I may well be wrong, but I think even a lot of Zimbabweans took notice of that, well, she is doing the best of her ability, but unfortunately, she was dealt a very bad hand.
Okay, so going into 2023, what should we do, especially as Zimbabweans and specifically as lawyers? The MDCT and the MDC Alliance is full of lawyers. Should these lawyers not be encouraged to stop undermining the courts? How does that work? Because now they are happy. Today they are happy. And I want to keep pressing that point.
Yes. No, I think the law society must help us. They must help us here, because I don't think it's fair for officers of the court to behave in the manner they behave most of the times when these judgments come. So I think there need to be a penalty if you behave in a certain way that is not decent, so to speak. Because I'm telling you, Gambagwe, remember, our justice system is based on justice not only being done, but to be seen to be done. And when you invest so much energy in discrediting the courts for political reasons, it affects all of us. It affects all of us. And so I think we ought to get into the habit of accepting court judgments. I think you know that when Kakupe lost some court judgments, speaking for her, I came on several occasions, even before your platform, and I said, we accept the judgment, even though we're not happy with it, but we want to accept the judgment. And we ended there. And we said, because of the rule of law, it also applies to us, even when we did not succeed. That didn't mean that we were too, we didn't have strong views like others seem to have. But we're cognizant that we have a country to build. And part of building the country means a very strong and robust bench. So you can't on a daily basis be attacking it and expect it to hold.
Okay. I want to end with a very interesting discussion that happened today on ZimEye, less than 10 minutes ago. And okay. Senator Monzora was answering some questions from Simba Chkanza.
Yeah.
Simba alleged that yourself, you led 40 members of the Women's League or the women's groups in Bulawayo of MDCT to walk out of Senator Monzora's meeting. Is that true?
Well, I sympathize with Simba because he is in the United Kingdom. So obviously what he hears may not be as accurate as he would love it to be. What happened is that Senator Ndlovu came from Harare this afternoon. So I had to go and pick him. And the Women's League were meeting very, very close to my own house. And where they were meeting, it also happens to be my sister's place, happens to be the niece of Senator Ndlovu. So obviously we got there and we went via the kitchen because we are at home, so to speak. So when we appeared from behind. I'm giving you all of this so you understand maybe why he got it the way he did. So obviously, as we came in, people were excited to see us. They haven't seen us in a long time because of the work that takes us around the country. So obviously, their excitement was visible. And then the Right Honorable Monzora came. I learned later that they did not expect him because they were not told that he's coming. What they were told is that Dr. Kupe is coming. So they were coming for Dr. Kupe. So something happened there. And as that was happening, I stood up together with Senator Ndlovu. Senator Ndlovu addressed one of the leaders of the Women's Assembly. I addressed the other one. And I said to them, look, there is media here. We need to be careful how we are handling this whole situation. We did not succeed at that time. So tempers went completely out of control. And then you had old people walking out. And as they were walking out and they were now making noise, demanding their money for transport and all those things. And I felt that this is going to reflect bad, number one, on the party. And number two, it's going to have a negative impact on what we're trying to do as a party, kind of like build unit and all those things. But number three, those people are my parents. Those people are part of my constituents. So what I could not do is to look at them, walk to town, and walk from town to their different locations. So I said to them, okay, if indeed you feel strongly that you have to go, although we think that you must stay and register your displeasure in there, stay in the meeting and register your displeasure, because they were saying we were beaten in Harare, we were tribally abused, Dr. Kupe was called a prostitute. Why are we today seen so valuable? And we said with Honorable Chief Ndlovu, it's important that you register these things inside. They said they cannot take it anymore. Others said their BPs are rising up and their blood pressure, all of those things. So I said, okay, it's okay, my mothers, I will take you. So I took two loads, one to town and others waited. I came back. I took them to town. I gave them their fares to go back home. But you'll also be happy to know that even those which stayed after the event, I also took two lots of them, taking them to their different places. So that is the background behind the issue. I am not normally a person who encourages commotion and all those things, but I don't think it's as dramatic as Simba might have reported it. I had nothing to do with it. My only involvement was to refuse to see adults having to walk to town and walk to their different places, not in my presence or under my watch. I was never going to allow that.
Okay, I think that is settled then, and there's no issue as far as you are concerned. Everything is sorted.
Yeah.
Okay. Senator Khaliphani Phugeni, I really enjoy talking to you every Saturday. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I would like to thank Zimbabweans for the support, number one. Number two, for involvement, and almost staying engaged. And I think we must stay engaged. Because if we don't, the gains of 2013 will be slowly but surely reversed. So we must stay engaged at all times. Today's victory, as small as it may seem, I think we can use it as building blocks. There are a lot of things that did not go right there, and we must just keep agitating. We must just keep pressing. I am sure that as long as we do that, come 2023, Zimbabweans will have a clear choice, an informed choice to make, not this choice of personalities where people just choose people because somehow they like them, but they are not following what they are about as far as their ideology and political programs are concerned.
Okay, I think that is a good place to end this conversation. Let's see if you've got more details tomorrow. If you don't have tomorrow, we'll probably see each other next week on Saturday. Thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you, sir. Good night and goodbye to all the listeners.
You cannot be a judge if you've been a judge beyond the age of 70 years. If you've been serving as a judge of the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court. And that is very important because that's what the Constitution says. Thank you. What is the effect of the whole amendment if it is going to be challenged in court now? Well, you must know that there is a dispute already on whether that act, number one, should have been passed after the dissolution of Parliament. That matter is now pending in the Constitutional Court. There's also a second dispute with regards to Constitutional Amendment 2, which is whether you can amend the constitutional bill that has been gazetted, you can amend it in the committee stage. You can't. So there are going to be more and more constitutional battles.
Uko kuno